Okay, next slide. Good afternoon. My name is Lisa Lee, and I'm the Director of Sustainability Programs at EasyRide. Next slide. EasyRide is a transportation management association, and we serve Bergen, Monmouth, and the urban areas of Essex, Passaic, and Union counties. We believe that a safer, greener, and more affordable transportation system is vital to maintaining our quality of life and economic growth. The safety of pedestrians, cyclists, and other vulnerable people, transportation emissions, and their adverse effect on people's health and the environment are a big concern for us. For 40 years, we've partnered with businesses and governments to implement transportation programs and services like carpools, van pools, shuttles, and biking and walking initiatives, all aimed at reducing congestion and mitigating air pollution. In response to growing concerns about safety and climate change, EasyRide has rolled out initiatives such as speed studies, complete streets demonstration projects, plans for fleet electrification, and the promotion of walking, biking, EVs, and workplace charging. We have a wonderful agenda with several great speakers today. Next slide. We are honored to have with us our colleague from RideWise TMA, Sean Castellano, as well as Mayor Christopher Bobbitt from Lawrence Township. And we've got the Vice President of the U.S. Electric Vehicle Association, Kate Kruk, with us, and also my colleague, next slide, Stan Jaracz from EasyRide. And our team is going to be presenting today. We had another partner from Charge EVC, from Brian Electric, but he had the wonderful happenstance of his wife going into labor yesterday. So they went to the hospital, and we've adjusted our program accordingly. And we wish him the best. Next slide. An investment in sustainability and workplace charging improves community health, helps to reduce operating costs, increases property value, attracts talent who value the environment, and positions your organization as a leader. Next slide. Transportation is the largest source of greenhouse gas emissions in the US and contributes to global climate change. However, local air pollution from tailpipe emissions has a more direct and immediate impact on human health. Globally, as much as 246,000 deaths per year are attributed to transportation tailpipe emissions. There's an average lifespan reduction of 8 months, and studies have shown that there are cognitive impacts as well that contribute to memory loss, IQ loss, autism, and ADHD. And kids and communities near traffic are most affected. Stan, I'm not sure if you meant to do that, but you've made yourself a spotlight. Yeah, next slide. Next slide. So electric vehicles can be part of a solution to the problems and pollution from transportation. A record of 440,000 EVs were sold in the third quarter last year. And so, of course, that's aligned with the end of the federal rebates. However, prices on EVs are decreasing. More and more of the manufacturers are putting out middle-priced vehicles. There are used EVs available now that can be gotten for great prices. And of course, EVs, there's no gas required and there's less maintenance. Next. There's still barriers, however, to EV adoption. And so those of us who are championing sustainable transportation are working on these efforts. There's a fear of new technology, which reduces uptake of EVs for those who are very cautious and not used to trying new things. There are no more federal tax rebates now for EV purchases. For those people, like 30% of Americans and those who live in apartment buildings, they may not have easy access to home electric vehicle charging. And it's projected that the 26 million EVs that will be on our roads by 2030 are going to need 1.3 million chargers. So what can we do? Next slide. Well, installing public and workplace EV charging can really help to fill that gap and increase access to EV chargers for both employees and also our community residents. About 80% of American commuters drive to work and park their vehicles for 8 hours a day. So there's an opportunity for them to be able to charge while they're at work that will help to meet the need. Next slide. EVAL certification is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy and managed by Fourth Mobility, a nonprofit based in Portland. And the EV Adoption Leadership Certification is a great way to show your community, your employees, and stakeholders that you value them providing electric vehicle charging stations, as well as other sustainability and alternative commuting programs. The EVAL worksite, which you can access by taking a photo of this QR code, also has many resources that can help you apply. The certification process can actually help you to figure out how to plan your installation of EV chargers. And it will also help you to really put into action your sustainability goals. So if you haven't yet started planning, going through the certification process from the very beginning will help you plan and can help to provide resources that will help you. EVAL also has surveys to help you determine the needs of your employees and the interests of your stakeholders. It has questionnaires to help you think through your plan and priorities. And it has really great ideas for your HR team to consider how they can better incentivize sustainable commuting, whether that's taking public transit, purchasing an EV, or biking to work. As well, it's aligned with LEED, and organizations that have EV charging stations and staff who drive EVs can get 2 LEED certification points. And although it's not yet official, we have been in talks with Sustainable Jersey to have EVAL certification help communities earn additional Sustainable Jersey certification points, which can then be used to apply for their mini grants. You can look out for an announcement later this spring. Next slide. So who's eligible for EV Adoption Leadership Certification? Basically, everyone except for organizations that exclusively have EV chargers for their fleet vehicles. So any type of employer, any industry, any size, nonprofits, tribal entities, states, counties, and municipalities. Next slide. EVAL recognizes organizations for sustainable actions at 4 different levels: bronze, silver, gold, and platinum. And you can see it only takes 15 points to actually get the bronze award. This is a national award. Next slide. The certification takes a look at how you are supporting your employees to move, and also with EV education. It looks at your sustainability goals and if you have leadership support. It also looks at the policies that you have in place that help to support alternative commuting and reduce emissions. Even if you don't have some of the policies currently, I have found that it really gives great ideas on how your organization can encourage a more sustainable way to commute. And if you have access to EV charging at work, or whether or not you make arrangements with other partners to provide access to your employees. Finally, it looks to see whether or not you have other innovative programs that support green transportation. Next. Um, so the Charge at Work site is a partner affiliated with Fourth Mobility, and they have a pledge that you can sign, and it's non-binding, but it will give you 1 point towards that 15 points to get a bronze award. The site also has a wonderful set of resources and a project builder portal. You can access all of them by taking a photo of these QR codes, or we're going to put the links in the chat for you also to be able to access. Next. So Easy Ride is Fourth Mobility's New Jersey state partner, and we can help you get certified and hold your hand through the entire process. But your local TMA here in New Jersey, and there are 8 of us, can really assist you and work with you on the activities that you need for certification. So all of the different TMAs can help you with different EV adoption strategies, that you can have a campaign, in your county or in your community. They can provide EV education or education on other alternatives such as biking, walking, remote work, using transit. And all of them have different and wonderful programs that you can bring in your communities that will help to reduce the amount of tailpipe emissions in your community. Easy Ride has a set of specific questions and a spreadsheet, and we can really help you plan as to the easiest way to maximize your points for certification. And we're also here that we can help you negotiate some discounts with Fourth Mobility to make this less painful. Next. So, when the program first rolled out a couple of years ago, it was totally free. And we did our best to let everyone know. Not everyone signed up then. So there is a fee right now. For one site, it's about almost $600. However, as a government entity, municipality, or county, you can get 25% off. If you're a nonprofit, you can get 25% off. If you have minority or women-owned businesses, they can get the certification for free. As a attendee today at our webinar, you can also get another 20% off stacked on top. So that's at least 45% off currently. But if you decide that, or if you have multiple sites in your community, we can also help to negotiate an additional discount to make your fee. You could probably certify multiple sites for less than the current pricing of certifying one work site. So please definitely work with us on that. Finally, next slide. Please consider joining all of the certified sustainability leaders here in New Jersey. I put the logos in here of all of our New Jersey certified groups, as well as some of our partners who have worked with us on these webinars. And I'm going to turn it over now to Sean. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Lisa. I really appreciate all you spoke about with the EVAL certification and looking forward to demonstrating how that became part of the RideWise story. So just a quick introduction for myself. I am Sean Castellano. I am the Sustainable Transportation Specialist here at RideWise, and I was the point contact and coordinator for our site EVAL certification. So if you could go to the next slide, please. As Lisa stated earlier, there are 8 TMAs in New Jersey, each denoted with their service area by color in this little infographic I put up on the right side. And RideWise is responsible for almost all of Somerset County. So the little blue spot in the middle, that's who we're responsible for. And just a little insight into what we do. We connect people and businesses to safe and sustainable travel in order to contribute to the health and well-being of our citizens and our economy. And how have we done this? We have so many educational programs, as does Easy Ride and the other TMAs in the state. We have our Bike Connect program, which one of our colleagues connects homeless and other unfortunately situationed people into getting bikes to go to work and to go to school at no cost. We have our College Connect program, working in partnership with Raritan Valley Community College, getting students bus passes and other things that they may need at no charge. And that's what TMAs do. We do our work at no charge to the community. We do many in-school education events, and as of the current moment, as I was onboarded in November, starting up our EV initiatives. So if you could go to our next slide, please. So just a brief insight into Somerset County's EV charging situation. There are a vast amount of chargers here throughout all of Somerset County. And the only ones I've highlighted here are simply the free ones that are available 24/7, every day of the week, all hours. You can see the different venues such as municipal buildings in Watchung and Franklin, the Ho Delta Hotel in Basking Ridge, different retail outlets such as Wendy's or car dealerships, Honda, Volvo, and Bridgewater and North Plainfield, healthcare centers in Brereton and Somerville. And we're really looking to bolster our list, try to work with more corporations and community organizations in order to see how much discounted EV charging and partnerships we can see from that. If you'd like to go to our site, that would be ridewise.org. Again, this is just a selection of the EV charging that's going on in our county. It's very exciting. If you could go to the next slide, please. So, looking into the charging in the county and how that plays into our service area, we were able to contact Lisa from Easy Ride, who was just presenting, and work to develop sustainability goals and EV adoption goals for our organization based upon our current work and work to come. And ultimately, as you'll see in the next couple slides, including this one, we were doing quite a bit of this already. So for a lot of organizations such as TMAs and county organizations, municipalities, it's almost a no-brainer to try to get this certification because, as Lisa stated, this is a nationally recognized program. So it's very good for visibility. But for sustainability goals for RideWise, we have energy savings at work. We have many energy efficient appliances, lighting, recycling efforts. We encourage employees to utilize carpools. So whenever we do our in-school education events, that's something that we make it a point to do. You know, we like to carpool together, not just, again, for the camaraderie of our colleagues, but to, save the environment, to help reduce the emissions in general, from our cars. And for Bike Connect, we were even looking into and having a sourcing recycled plastic helmets. So again, those are just some of the sustainability goals that we have as an organization. And on the flip side, looking into EV adoption goals, we're looking to increase EV charging at workplaces. So we're building upon the relationships we have already with sites such as J&J, RWJ, and demonstrating that success to other organizations and saying, not only can you have EV charging, it's lower cost, lower maintenance, but there's also certification that can, boost your visibility on that side of the sustainability as well. And as always, encouraging employee e-micro mobility use, such as bikes and e-bikes and e-scooters. Next slide, please. So how did we obtain our EVAL certification? So we went through a process. I was in many phone calls with Lisa and trying to coordinate many things back and forth. And ultimately, it ended up working very nicely. There was very little friction, if anything, trying to record our progress or anything like that. So the main points are that we highlighted program work. I have reached out to the New Jersey Electric Vehicle Association and as RideWise, um, again, just utilizing our EV initiatives and our goals, coordinating a first responder training night for all of Somerset County. So I've invited all 75 or 76 fire departments, EMTs, just to send a representative or two to learn about EVs, to see how they impact the community. If there's a fire, if there's a problem, to learn how to power disconnect, to see the inspection. So there's a presentation and a demo component. So that's just a small slice of our program work, and that's going on with EV initiatives. And then on behalf of Easy Ride, with a nice presentation about electric vehicles and charging, I was able to educate employees, not only through that presentation, but there was a survey sent out about potential EV charging, potential EV purchasing. Again, keeping employees aware of what we're doing in addition to the community. We also identified some e-bike parking in the office. So again, these were outlets, these are spaces that already existed. Just putting a name, putting a term to them, identifying them, and helping that contribute to our certification was phenomenal. And ultimately, recording our progress, as Lisa stated, Easy Ride provides a fantastic spreadsheet for the points and different values of different actions. And compiling them all together, we were able to obtain the bronze certification, as you see on the right side. So again, 15 points for the bronze certification. We were actually almost at the silver level had we done a little more. But this was a fantastic start for our organization, and I just foresee great things to come from this. So if you go to the next slide, please. So just to wrap up my portion of the talk, just certification advantages. Now I am able to, as a representative of RideWise and others in our organization who can speak about this, we can promote EVAL certification in our county for municipalities and corporate employers, and ultimately denote our commitment to sustainability as an organization. So it lends us credibility as well when we go out into the community and present, anti-idling education, safety education. Well, we have taken the step for ourselves as well to be certified, to be on that level with the in line with the government standards, and ultimately just transformed our current practices into a certification that recognizes our work. Again, tying everything together in that progress sheet was very satisfying to see that a lot we had done already, and it just gave us a blueprint or an outline of the good to come. So thanks for listening to my portion of the presentation, and I believe I'll hand it off to Mayor Bobbitt of Lawrence.
Oh, thanks, Sean. I wasn't sure if there was going to be an interim, so no, no worries. So yeah, I'm Chris Bobbitt, Lawrence Township in Mercer. Next slide. Great. I'm going to talk about a little bit about electric vehicles, some of our projects and infrastructure. One of the things in our form of government, council sort of rotates who's mayor every 2 years. So when I was first mayor in 1819, one of the things I was really keen on was sort of continuing the work that has been done in the past about sort of our environmental footprint and other things. And so one of the things that we've done was during that time, we started to put in solar panels at the municipal building, and part of that we started to look at, electric cars and things like that. So next slide, please. And so here you see one of our first public charging stations. It was installed in 2020 at our municipal complex. It was partially funded by NJDP. It pays to plug-in grant program. The remainder of the funding was budgeted through just our township capital funding. The station, it's a ChargePoint 4000 series, which was purchased, installed, and commissioned through the township's membership in a cooperative purchasing group. It's a dual port level 2 station to accommodate two drivers simultaneously, and it's listed on the ChargePoint network. And this allows drivers to easily locate the station and charge their vehicles. And I've seen it both when I've coming into the municipal building and at other times day and night where residents have been using it to sort of either top off while they're visiting, but also at night after council meetings, I see cars there charging up. So it allows people to have an electric vehicle, but not necessarily need to have, install a charger at their home. The station's also listed on the U.S. Department of Energy's Alternative Fuels Data Center, AFDC station locator. We charge just a modest fee of $1 an hour. We didn't want it to sort of be a moneymaker, but at the same time, the fees are generated and are deposited in the in the our township sustainability fund. The parking spaces are striped and they have EV signage. We also charge a little extra if you stay overnight, just to, if you stay too long, just to make sure people don't just park there for, 24 hours. The great thing is that the parking lot is part of our municipal complex, so it's adjacent to the police facility. So it residents can feel like it's a safe, accessible, 24-hour a day, 7 days a week type of a place. Next slide, please. Oh, no worries. Yep, there you go. Perfect. Thank you. This is a picture of our fleet station, which was also installed in 2020 for our township fleet vehicles. This side is on the south side of our municipal complex, um, and it's just used for it's it includes again striping and signage. The vehicles we typically are used by our inspectors for both health, building, things like that. As you can imagine, they kind of have certain routes, understandable mileage and stuff. So it's one of those, you plug it in overnight, they go out and do their work. Our current 2024 fleet includes 6 electric vehicles. They were all purchased through a cooperative purchasing program, and we've been using the BPU Clean Fleet Grant Program for partially funding of these vehicles. A second fleet station was installed in 2023 to accommodate charging for additional vehicles. So, we've sort of grown our electric fleet, so we've added a second station, and every time I see them, I think of them as my little babies, running around without causing emissions. Next slide, please. We hosted a NJDP Charge at Work event in September 2023, just to highlight our charging stations and cars and the importance of workplace charging. Next slide. Thanks. We also have been trying to go electric in some other things. We had Public Works, they purchased a zero-turn electric mower in 2023 for park maintenance. I'd spoken with our director of public works, and he says that it's been great in terms of battery life and everything else. They've worked just as well as our gas powered fleet, and he's a fan of them, in part because he doesn't have to worry about the gas fumes and lubricating and all that type, the oil and the gas part of it. So it's been a real win for us. We've also obtained a grant from NJDEP using Regional Greenhouse Gas Initiative funding under the Equipment Modernization Program for the purchase of an electric garbage truck and associated charging station at Public Works. This project will be budgeted over a 5-year period, as the truck, as you can imagine, is a little costly, and grant funding only covers approximately a third of the anticipated cost. So that's sort of a work in progress right now, but that's what we're sort of building towards. Next slide. We adopted a community energy plan in 2023, and the plan was revised to include the electric vehicles as ongoing initiatives. And we also had an ordinance entitled, it was 2435-22, entitled An Ordinance Authorizing and Encouraging Electric Vehicle Supply, Service Equipment, and Make-Ready Parking Spaces. That was just to encourage the township and provide for designated parking spaces and streamline the process really, and install both permitting and installation for charging equipment in accordance with DCA guidance. We also in 2024 we obtained a pays to plug in for 5 additional charging stations, an additional public station at the municipal complex, an additional fleet station at the municipal complex, as well as a fleet station at our senior center and a public station in one of our main parks. We're also planning another station at our community center as well. So the installations began in December 25, and 4 of the stations were just activated, and PSE&G was also a helpful partner in funding for some of these installations. Next slide. And so we intend to continue our electric transformation of our vehicles and fleet as ongoing initiatives. It's just really exciting to see how we've sort of incrementally done this over the past 5 years or so. And it's exciting to see. And you know, I've gotten great feedback from, like I said, from Public Works about the electric mower. And as you can see, our rec department loves to have their own little branded electric car. So thanks. I'm not sure who's next. Oh,
Oh,
Kate.
I think I was gonna say, I think it is me. Thank you, Mayor. And hi, my name is Kate Kruk. For those of you who don't know me, I wear a million different hats. And one of them, as Lisa introduced me earlier, was as the Vice President of the National Electric Vehicle Association. I am also the President of the New York Capital District Electric Vehicle Association. A retired elected official, and in my spare time, I work with Linkwell, who is as the partnership and engagement director there, who is an AV hardware and software solution provider. And today I get to mix all of the things that I love and talk about how the hardware and software selection can make it easy for you to choose the right products and services that you need for your municipality. As I mentioned, I was a previously elected official, and I understand quite intimately how important budgets are and how to procure the services that you need to make this transition to more e-mobility successful. So without further ado, I'm also going to, again, I get to talk about hardware, software, and most importantly, how to save money, since as stewards of public funds, that is a main responsibility and a main concern for most of you on this call today. But before we dive into that, I know some of you are new. So Stan, if you want to go to the next slide. I want to talk a little bit.
An issue. I got out of the screen. Do you see the shared screen?
I see the shared screen. I see my title slide.
Because unfortunately, and I apologize, Zoom has updated its version of the software, and as a result, there are some funny things going on here that caught me unprepared. So I apologize. Do you see the screen now?
Yep, I see it. Again, it's the first title slide.
Okay.
Of mine. There we go. We're back in action. So what I wanted to talk about before we get down to the nitty-gritty is really important is to choose the right tools for the job. And throughout the previous pieces of the conversation, we've heard lots of acronyms, because in the EV world, like in public service and in private service as well, everybody's got shortenings for them. But I want to point out that it's really important for municipalities to understand what's in your parking lot. Like Lisa said earlier today, when it comes to charging in a workplace, it's important to know what type of vehicles are there, how long they're there, and then be able to use that to choose the right hardware and software to match that dwell time. Employees like myself are usually in an office for about 8 hours a day. And that can easily transition into choosing sometimes more cost-effective solutions for charging than some of the faster chargers if people turn around. But in order to pick the right charger, you need to know what kind of vehicles take those types of charges. Because all of these vehicles, well, most of them anyway, have a battery and a capacity like any battery to be able to fill up, and how quickly that battery can take that charge. So as elected officials, as leaders within our communities, it's good to know the right terminology. And the first one I want to talk about is hybrid vehicles. And if you look at that graph on the left-hand side, I love this chart. Hybrid vehicles are not electric vehicles. There's no plug. There's no EV charging. So if you have a fleet of hybrids and plain hybrid vehicles, this type of infrastructure is very likely not for you, because there's nothing to plug in. The next piece of conversation is the PHEV, which is the plug-in hybrid electric vehicle. And sometimes, and especially in a lot of marketing, people drop that PH and they just say hybrid. So that PHEV is both fuel, so regular gasoline, as well as a plug-in capacity. And very often the batteries in PHEVs are very small. So therefore, it can only drive on average about 40 miles on electric before those PHEVs switch over and start utilizing gasoline to move the vehicle forward. That is important when it comes to the chargers, which we'll talk about next. And then finally is our zero emission vehicles, also abbreviated as ZEVs. Often you'll hear about this with buses, ZEV buses, big electric buses, or BEVs, battery electric vehicles. These type of vehicles propel themselves forward. They move only on battery power. So no fuel, no gasoline is required to move these vehicles forward, and nor will it take it. So what that means when it comes to charging is when you're choosing the type of hardware, there's level 1 charging. And you all know about level 1 charging because you probably have it pretty close to you wherever you're sitting right now. A level 1 charger is just a 110 outlet. And I want everybody here to know that, yes, you can charge an electric vehicle with a 110 outlet. You can plug it right into a regular outlet you have in your garage. But what I will say is that the range per hour you'll get is about 3 to 5 miles. So not a lot, but for a place like a municipal airport, for example, where someone's going to be gone for a week, a 110 outlet, a level 1 charger isn't out of the question. And as you can imagine, if you look on that chart, level 1 charging is relatively inexpensive, but it takes a long time. And any electric vehicle, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting about this one, any electric vehicle can charge on a level 1 charger. Now, a level 2 charger is kind of that sweet spot, especially when we talk about municipalities that are using these as a workplace, as a business, as some place where people are going to be for a while. Dwell time and level 2 chargers are something you want to consider. So a level 2 charger is a 240 outlet in general. It averages a range from anywhere from, will recoup you 12 to up to 80 miles in several hours, but it's that slower charge, lower demand on the grid, and also those level 2 chargers are mostly pretty inexpensive. And then finally is the DCFC. A DCFC, or a direct current fast charger, is that level 3 charging. And this is for non-EV drivers, what everybody thinks is electric vehicle charging. A DCFC is going to charge very fast, and it can deliver power from 50 up to 350 kilowatts for a municipal charger. Yes, there are megawatt chargers that are out there. There's higher capacity ones. For this conversation, it's probably overkill, but they do exist. So for a municipality, you want to think about the DCFCs from that 50 to 350 kilowatt range. And what that means is it's going to get you about 75 to 100 miles of charge, sometimes more, within 20 minutes to an hour. So that's that quick, what I can compare to is that gas station mentality where within 20 minutes, sometimes 15 minutes, your car is fully charged and you're ready to go. As you can imagine, DCFC fast chargers are expensive. And sometimes when you're especially trying to talk to this, to your communities, to your committees, they think that that's what they're getting when really you're getting a level 2, or vice versa. People are getting level 2 chargers and they think they're getting level 3s. And the cost is definitely different. So you want to make sure that you're using the right terminology when you talk to folks and when you're choosing the hardware that matches. And just in case I didn't say it, most PHEVs, those plug-in electric vehicles, the plug-in hybrids, don't take level 3 charging. So if you have plug-in hybrid vehicles in your fleet, or you're going that way with your fleet, a lot of the vehicles on the market right now, because those plug-in hybrids have very small battery capacity, they cannot accept the higher range charge and the capacity of a level 3 charger. So keep that in mind as you're building out your infrastructure and matching it to the vehicles that are going to be using your charging station. Again, going back to stop and take a moment to think what's in your parking lot. Stan, you can go to that next slide. I'll try to move along here. The next thing we're going to talk about, once we've chosen the hardware that matches what's in our parking lot or what's anticipated to be in our parking lot, we're going to work smarter, not harder. and drive a better experience using software. This is super important because certain providers of hardware don't necessarily talk to the software provider. It's just like choosing a cell phone. You want to pick the phone that you like, but you also want to get it on the network that does what you need it to do. So some things that you need to consider when you're choosing software solutions to match your municipality's needs is private charging options. So does your charging network have options to restrict access potentially to approved drivers? So think of it as you want to make sure that these charging stations you're putting in are only available to your municipal fleet, something like that. So does your software allow you to do that? Additionally, there are software solutions that have driver discounts. So you want your employees to charge for free. You want guests to charge for free. You want the mayor to charge for free. You can make it so that certain software solutions offer those driver discounts. You can also use things like energy and time limits. Again, these are things you want to ask your software solution provider that's with your hardware solution to promote fair access by setting limits on charging. I think it might have been Chris or the mayor who had mentioned you want to encourage the proper behavior. You don't want people maybe staying here all day. So you can set energy and time limits using software that will politely tell people on an app to move it along, perhaps after 2 hours per session or up to like 10 kilowatts. Finally, something that we hear a lot, especially as municipal leaders, is the impact on the grid. So load management is another thing you can consider with software solutions, something that allows you to add more charging ports in your location without necessarily increasing the utility infrastructure. So if you only have 100 kilowatts of power, you can make it so that those charging stations will only allow a certain amount of power to go to the total bank of chargers, therefore not overloading the grid. And then finally, if there's something real special about what you want to do in your community, there is software solutions that can create a custom network and driver experience that integrates with you. This is a lot of times in commercial spaces. A lot of retailers try to integrate that, but there's no reason why your communities couldn't do that. If you're trying to, brand your community as a smart city or a smart community, it's definitely an option. So you want to make sure you take this list with you when you're vetting your software providers. Next slide, please. This one's going to go really quick. And one of my favorite things to talk about, it's the how-to. I'm a get it done kind of woman. So how to maximize your EVSE or electric vehicle supply equipment, another acronym, how to save money on those. We mentioned earlier, unfortunately, right now, federal tax credits are not available, but it doesn't mean that you as municipal leaders can't try to get that back into budgets in the next couple years. There are state grants and utility rebates. There's also ways to partner and do cost sharing. Cooperative purchasing, I believe the mayor spoke about that, and I will in a minute. That's one of the best solutions to get what you need at a approved price, and it definitely gets things in the ground much quicker. We talked about energy management as a way to make sure that you're maximizing your savings so that you're not you're limiting the use of those chargers or incentivizing people to use the chargers when the energy rates are lower. And then, of course, charging as a revenue stream, which is something that I guess, the mayor had said that they use it as an increase to their environmental fund, something to consider. And then, of course, offering public access after hours, residents pay per use. One of the biggest complaints that we hear as EV drivers is that a lot of multi-unit dwellings or apartment buildings don't have access to charging at the moment, but a lot of times where municipal buildings are located, there are multi-unit dwellings nearby. So you can offer opportunities for those folks to charge in your locations, potentially after hours, and it's a win-win for everybody. Next slide. Getting into the fun stuff. Here's how to do it. So right now, we are very fortunate. The Electric Vehicle Association does partner with Linkwell. And right now on their website is a free to use rebate finder. I encourage everyone to go play with this. There are incentives out there. Don't ever pay full price. So take a look. I just put the link in the chat. And again, you can use this for free. You can type in your site location and include your zip code, the types of chargers that you're looking for, whether it's the DC fast chargers or level 2s, or you can even put in, I don't know, you can put in your utility company. If you're a known DAC community, so disadvantaged communities often have opportunities for additional funding. Driver access is also going to impact your funding opportunities. So are these public or are they private? Are they, behind the fence? And then finally, is this type going to be used for workplace charging, fleet, multi-unit dwelling? In this case, for municipalities, I would assume it's mostly going to lean towards workplace, public charging, as well as fleet access. And when you type those things in, you're going to get a pop-up to all the available programs in your area that you are eligible for. If you have any questions, the Linkwell team, as well as a lot of the other resources that are here on this call, are able to walk you through that. Next slide, please. Couple of the examples of the things that are going to kick out if you type that into the rebate finder, or if you reach out to any of the partners here on the call today. The New Jersey incentive for workplace EV charging, the It Pays to Plug In program, is offering charging for level 1, which is those 110 outlets, up to $750 per port, and for level 2 chargers, up to $4,000 per port with a 2-port minimum. I will say, as I get to work with folks across the country on putting in charging infrastructure, very often it's a 2-port minimum, sometimes 4 ports. So think about that as you're planning your infrastructure. I also want to point out the Clean Fleet EV incentive program, which again, if you're doing fleet charging, up to $4,000 per port, that's up to 90% off. It will be a rebate back to you. And then finally, in the New Jersey area, since most of the folks on the call are from New Jersey, there's those utility make-ready funds, which can often be stacked with some of these other programs. So if you're in PSEG, if you're in Orange and Rockland, Atlantic City Electric, there's different locations based on your location and your utility. There's up to certain incentives for per port. And those, for the most part, for behind the meter, what you see here in the front of the meter, those are for level 2 charging infrastructure. Again, workplace charging very often is level 2. Some instances, DCFCs are an option, again, mostly if you are doing a fleet infrastructure program. Next slide. The other piece that I want to talk about for especially municipal leaders, please, please, please make sure that you can simplify the process and get things done with cooperative purchasing. So if you are not aware of these types of programs, if you're not familiar, Sourcewell, New Jersey Start, again, I'm based in New York, so the New York procurement through the Office of General Services, all of these locations can help you find a cooperative purchase that will already have ready for you solicited prices on hardware, software, and installation. And what that means as a municipality is if you put charging infrastructure as something that you are going to get done in 2026, a cooperative purchase is going to save you time and energy, and most importantly, money for your constituents by going through something that's already been vetted because others have already solicited it for you. So if it wasn't at the top of your mind, yes, New York State contract is used by counties and municipalities in New Jersey, absolutely. And Sourcewell is another option for those of you who might not be connected, but absolutely go to your cooperative purchasing first. It will make things so much quicker. Go ahead, next slide. Finally, one of our partners today, Sustainable Jersey, does have purchasing resources very similar to what I've just mentioning. They have an online directory of purchasing options from the New Jersey contract, again, as well as national and state or county cooperatives. So I know, again, as municipal leaders here, you're often talking to your colleagues outside of your states and on different committees. So this is a resource just like the cooperative purchases and the website I just showed you, that can be shared across the states. But New Jersey, a Sustainable Jersey, has a great list that also has Buy America compliant products on that list as well, all through their website. So take a look, and they are a great resource as well. Well, last slide. Finally, last but not least, I want to just give a shout out to the Electric Vehicle Association. You can connect with them at www.myeva.org. The Electric Vehicle Association across the country puts on education and outreach opportunities to get people in seats in behind electric vehicles, and very often they partner with our municipal leaders. You're going to see that great photo there of the city of Schenectady, New York, hosting the largest Electric Vehicle Association event in the country, bringing together hundreds of vehicles, EV drivers, and brings the counties and the communities together to showcase what you can do when you implement EV infrastructure. And the last thing I'll sign off with is remember, you can EV, which is my mantra. It's on my license plate. And with all these great leaders here today, can make it happen for you. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to myself or anybody here on the panel.
Hello, everyone. This is Stan, and again, I apologize for the technical glitches, which happens only once per 10 years. Let me take you through some technical strategies, site strategies, what you want to consider and what you want to anticipate when it comes to actually install the charging station. And if you would like to get technical assistance from us, make sure that you scan the QR code. It is important that as you are trying to implement your workplace charging or charging for your community, that you create a committee, that you find partners and all stakeholders that are critical for your project. And you want to make sure that you find a partner that will help you to go through the project. And EasyRide is just one of them. So you want to do a site visit, and you want to determine all the possible options for new and existing infrastructure. You want to also early on initiate the grant application process with DEP or BPU, because it is quite lengthy, particularly with DEP. A BPU is more efficient in that respect. And then, as Kate mentioned, you can actually go with the Sourcewell, with the cooperative purchasing, which is easier. But in my experience, sometimes it's more cost effective if you find cheaper option by yourself. But then you have to go through the bidding process and you have to have 3 bids. So it depends really how you want to proceed. If you want to have it done quickly, if you have the money, or if you want to go with better deal. Although again, you have seen the numbers. You can get $4,000 per port, and this is pretty good money. So chances are that your cooperative purchasing option will actually fit within those funds. And then you want to get estimates from the electrical contractors as well. And then you want to select the winner, do the purchase order, and if needed, you may also need to submit a utility application that's related to service upgrade. Very likely you will need to do service upgrade, and for that there are also some incentives from the utilities. Then you want to order the material, design engineering drawings, which may also come at cost. Chances are, if you have your own engineering department, they can do it for you. But you may need to hire an electrician to do actually the installation. Then you want to submit for permits, installation, and then when it's installed, you will do the activation, commissioning, and when you have all the bills ready, then you will request grant reimbursement from DEP or BPU, and then also from the utilities. There are also some technical details that are related to to ADA requirements. You want to make sure that it is really accessible. Some of the pictures that we see from our partner, Bryan Electric, on the left side is a correct arrangement when the charging station is properly protected with the bollards, and it's situated in between those two parking positions, both of them designated for disabled drivers, and it is very accessible, including the height of the port arrangement. On the right side, on the other hand, you see that the charging station is kind of off. It is not well protected with the bollard, and it is awkward as for accessibility for the disabled people. So this is not really good location. When you are considering the location for the charging station, it is important to access some of the resources that will help you determine what are the technical specifications. For example, you need to check the FEMA flood mapping, because if you have a flooding region, then your equipment needs to be elevated, particularly the power cabinet. It has to be protected from floods. The utility territory map that helps you navigate who is your partner when it comes to the utility. Environment and justice map of overburdened communities. This is important because some of the incentives that were listed, including those from BPU, they are actually 50% higher if the construction is happening in overburdened communities. And this is very important because in some of these situations, what you need to do is a little bit more expensive because you need to accommodate for certain specifics at that site. Also, federal 30C tax credit eligibility locator. As Kate mentioned, the support from the federal government is kind of going away. My understanding is that the federal tax credit to install charging station is still in place, and it will expire by June 30th this year. So, and it is up to 30%, depending on whether your the construction workers are part of the union, and if they meet the apprenticeship requirement, then it's 30%. If not, then it's 6%. But the region has to be really in the right census tract. And many regions in New Jersey are eligible for that. So next steps, Lisa, would you like to take it away?
I think you can just leave this screen on the slide on the screen, and I would ask our speakers to kind of unmute themselves and put themselves back on audio. We have a few minutes. Does anyone have any questions? If so, please put it in the chat. And I have a couple of questions. Mayor, I'm curious, how frequently are your public stations used, and is there a fee?
So I'm on, right?
Oh,
You can hear me?
Yeah.
They're pretty active, and the demand's pretty strong. I typically, whenever I come to the municipal building, I see at least one car parked there. The fee is $1 an hour, but after 30 minutes, it rises to $5. And again, that's just, with a level 2, that should pretty much top people off, get them to where they need to go. We just, the $5 was really just to kind of nudge people to keep it moving.
Yeah, that's great. And our friend who couldn't come today, George, took a look at your usage, and he let me know that you've had a 22% increase in utilization in the past year, and that he expects that it's probably going to go up to 36% this year, especially since you are installing new chargers at your senior center.
Yeah, I think that's going to be great. And it's also, I think many people on this call have also seen, like, just you see a lot more EVs on the road now, from high-end ones, Rivians and others down to, your basic Chevys. And it's just great. It's great to see.
Yeah, yeah. Sean, somebody asked, is EV parking at the work site required for the eval certification?
Sure, that's a great question. So, in our work together, we actually identified that EV parking currently is not a strict requirement. So, RideWise is operating in a building, specifically in an office that is leased. So, we do not have control over our current parking situation or parking deck. However, they're engaging employees, demonstrating our work and partnerships with other municipal and county organizations, as well as showing future outlines and progression of other plans. You are able to achieve the EVAL certification, I would say, quite easily, depending on the level of your organization's work. So I think that's a great question. And the answer, bottom line, is actually no, you don't need to have it, but you can always plan for it, especially using the Charge at Work project builder.
Yeah, your organization is one of several in New Jersey who didn't yet have chargers but got certified. And I think the highest one was a township that had a plan in mind, didn't have the chargers installed, but they were able to get to the silver level. And you guys did great because of all of the goals and the efforts that you have at RideWise. Um, Final question, Kate. Somebody asked, can municipalities really get everything they need through cooperative purchasing? They were told that they have to put it out to bid.
So I would say yes, they can get everything through a cooperative purchase. But what I will caution some folks on is what I know, and again, maybe the mayor can talk about this as well, is that certain municipalities or certain jurisdictions do have their own policies that they need to follow when it comes to getting bids. I know in New York State, there's certain rules around, like, if it's less than $20,000, then you don't have to go out for a bid. You can go direct to a cooperative purchase. So I would always caution folks to just check with their internal policies first. But as far as what's written out on a cooperative purchase, there are vendors who have everything right there in their cooperative purchase, from hardware to software to the installation. And then those prices are all negotiated and you are ready to go. And it does meet those competitive bid processes. But unfortunately, cooperative purchasing does not supersede any local policy about collecting bids, etc. But can you get everything through a purchase? Yes, you can.
Great, thank you for that. Let's see. I don't see other questions. But I think on our Stan, if you could move to the next slide, we just want to really thank you all for joining us here today. Our next Wheels and Watts webinar will be on February 17th. And if folks have any specific questions or ideas about topics for us in the future, please let us know. In the past, we've talked about educational institutions and EV charging, healthcare and EV charging, hospitality and EV charging. So, our team is really up to, be here to be a resource for the community. So thank you again for coming. If you put your email into the chat with your name, I'll be able to send you a copy of the recording and the slides, probably sometime tomorrow. It takes some time to process. So thanks again. And again, please feel free to reach out to any of the partners here. We would be really happy to help you. And go green, go New Jersey. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you again, Mayor Bobbitt, Kate, and
Thank you.
Sean, for joining Stan and I here today.
Not a
You're
problem.
very
Thanks a
welcome.
lot.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Lisa.
care.
Thank you, guys.
drive electric.
Very nice presentation.
Yes, drive electric.
Yeah, exactly. Take care, all.
All right. Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, Kate.